Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're actually going to talk about Star Wars again. I know, I'm sick of it too, but I thought this was really interesting. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, Hasbro unveiled some new Star Wars figures to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. And they've got new figures from every era of Star Wars except one. That's right, the Sequel Trilogy is not represented. There are no planned Sequel Trilogy characters, as far as I can tell, for this 50th anniversary line. And that's very, very telling. That tells you exactly where the Sequel Trilogy is with Hasbro, at least. And probably with consumers as well. We're going to talk about that. These figures actually look really, really good. And look, I don't collect Star Wars toys much anymore, but damn it. I'm looking at some of these and I'm like, oh God, I really don't want to give them my money, but they look really good, but I don't want to give them my money. So I'm really conflicted. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 174,000 subs, almost 175. I don't know if that's a magical number or not, but thank you for the support. Geeky is sitting this video out. She's not feeling too well today, and she also doesn't really care about Star Wars toys too much anymore. But I thought this was pretty interesting. Hasbro Pulse unveiled a bunch of new figures during their Fan First Friday event, and Jar Jar Binks is getting an action figure, a new action figure, a Black Series figure, and Rey is not. Rey is cut out. It's very cold of Hasbro. So I'm waiting for people to be like, where's Rey? Where's Rey? Why did you cut Rey out of this? So Hasbro Pulse is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm with newly announced Star Wars Black Series figures. The announcement was made during Fan First Friday and includes everything from the prequel trilogy to the original trilogy to Clone Wars and Rebels and even Bad Batch. What is curious is that missing are any announcements of characters from the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy. So now, I freaking love these. These look like the card backs to the Phantom Menace, except they didn't have the Comtech chips in here, but I freaking love these. First up are the Episode 1 figures. In 1990s packaging, the initial wave includes Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace Windu, Jar Jar Binks, and a battle droid. They are, I believe, Best Buy exclusive. You can pre-order them now. I love these very much. I like the Mace Windu. Again, big 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm. This is a big event, and Rey and Kylo are nowhere to be seen. Rose Tico is nowhere to be seen. But Jar Jar Binks is. Jar Jar Binks is getting a figure. He's getting a new figure. And I actually kind of like it. You know what? I am of the minority, I know. I didn't completely hate Jar Jar Binks. I thought he was okay. The technology was pretty good. You know, I actually was annoyed more by little Anakin than I was Jar Jar Binks. And I'm kind of bummed we never got to see him grow as a character, because I know George Lucas cut the plans for him short because of fan backlash, and he was barely in Revenge of the Sith. But I thought it was a pretty smart move to make him the guy that's responsible in a roundabout way for the Empire by giving the emergency powers to Palpatine. I just thought that was great, because the guy's, not very smart. But there's rumor that they're going to bring him back in the Obi-Wan series, so maybe they can redeem him. Ahmed Best seems like a pretty good guy. And a lot of the drama around Jar Jar Binks, as I recall, now it's been a while, but as I recall, a lot of the drama was actually faux outrage manufactured by the media. Jar Jar's a racist caricature. Jar Jar is annoying. George Lucas must hate black people because he made Jar Jar Binks, even though he's played by a black guy, And Ahmed Best, unfortunately, went through a really rough time. Contemplated suicide, I guess. It was awful, but you see him in interviews and he seems like a pretty good guy. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe they can redeem Jar Jar Binks somehow on Disney Plus. I'm kind of liking the figure though. And the battle droid, again, think what you will about the prequels. I love the battle droid design. I've always loved the battle droids. I remember the first time I saw them, I'm kind of like, this doesn't look very Star Wars. to me at all. It doesn't, but I grew to love them. And I actually picked up the very first, I believe it was the very first Phantom Menace figure they made, which was the battle droid on the, the skiff glider thing that they had. Stap, I think it was called Stap, I don't remember. But yeah, I picked that up in Mace Windu when they were released early. Now, this is what I love the most. They're making Kenner-style Black Series figures. And it's just really cool. Again, the 50th anniversary, no sequel trilogy. You know, I mentioned in this article that George Lucas didn't sign off on the Disney sequels, and the sequel toys almost destroyed the Star Wars toy franchise. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and why they're probably doing this. I'm sure many people watching this probably know that sequel trilogy toys don't sell, save for a few characters, but yeah, that's why they're doing this. So we've got Kenner-style Obi-Wan Kenobi with vinyl cape. We've got a Jawa. Look at this. I like this quite a bit. A Jawa with a cloth robe. Look at this. I mean, this is really cool. They're giving fans what they want because they know that's where the money is. At least Hasbro knows. Hasbro learned a painful lesson, I think, with Transformers too. They bet everything on Michael Bay Transformers, and I don't think they sold terribly well. And then they had a lot of like kiddie type Transformers, and they didn't sell very well. So they had to go back and start releasing classic style figures. Those sell out almost everywhere. Greedo, Kenner style Greedo. I want to see a Hammerhead and a Walrus Man in the Kenner style. Greedo was actually my very first Star Wars figure. I didn't even know who he was. Now the only thing wrong here is he actually had boots. Greedo had boots. I think they just took the regular old Greedo and just, gave it a redeco. But yeah, he actually had like boots. Anyway, we got Endor Leia. We got Ewoks. We've got the Elite Squad Trooper from, I believe, the Bad Batch. Is that where they're from? And we've got Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul from the Filoni-verse. But there's no Rey. There's no Rey at all. Now, what I'm reading is that they are planning to make some more figures in this 50th anniversary line, but there's no mention. There's no mention of sequel characters. They said that they're going to make more figures from the Mandalorian and the Bad Batch, and they also have a couple different Lando Calrissians, 2 different Landos. So I have to wonder if we're doing, Donald Glover Lando and Billy D. Williams Lando, or we're doing Kenner style Lando and a movie Lando. I have no idea. But there seemingly is no mention of the trilogy characters. And I don't know if they're going to do it. Because if you check Black Series figures or any figures really, sequel characters don't sell very well. Save for a few, most of them do not sell. They can be had dirt cheap. You can buy Rose Ticos for next to nothing. Not a good situation. And going back a couple of years, now this is before The Mandalorian. If it wasn't for The Mandalorian, Star Wars was absolutely in bad shape before The Mandalorian. Before the Mandalorian merchandise, before the renewed efforts on the part of Hasbro to release a lot of vintage style characters, vintage figures. That seems to be propping up the line along with the Black Series and the Mandalorian merchandise. Star Wars just 2 years ago was in incredibly bad shape. The toys were not selling. They barely had any merchandise for The Rise of Skywalker. They had these kiosks in Walmart, and I remember because the toys, you can still find some of those toys in our local Walmart. Dio plushies or whatever, I think they still have them. But they sat there for months, and they mixed Rise of Skywalker characters, sequel trilogy characters in with original trilogy characters because they knew they would sell in Black Series figures. But they didn't have like a dedicated Rise of Skywalker display with vehicles and a whole line with all these characters. No, they didn't even bother because they're like, we know this shit's not going to sell. We got burnt on The Last Jedi. Sequel trilogy shit does not sell. And Hasbro pretty much said as much a couple of years ago. Hasbro's CEO Brian Goldner said the company made an error by releasing toys too far ahead of The Last Jedi. No, because I remember Star Wars figures when we were kids being released like a year before the movie came out, and there was no problem selling them. The problem was that nobody gave a shit about the movie. Nobody cared about the movie. They didn't. And then Toys R Us, they had a glut of Force Awakens stuff. It was a bad situation. And Solo, it was in and out. They had some Solo stuff, but not a lot. They had Nap Time Millennium Falcon. I don't know if you guys remember the Nap Time Millennium Falcon, where Han couldn't actually sit up in the cockpit. You had to lay him down to put him in the cockpit. It was ridiculous. It was it was so budget cut. But yeah, they're definitely going back to what works, because if not, this is what happens. You've got a glut of action figures you can't sell for next to nothing. You can't even give them away. I saw Rose Ticos and Huxes at some stores around here for like 50 cents a piece, and they sat there for months. Nobody wanted the Disney sequel trilogy crap. Hasbro knows it. Hasbro knows what the fans want. They want original trilogy. They want Mandalorian. They want Filoni-verse stuff, and that is it. And damn it, I do not want to give them my money. But I got to tell you, I'm liking these quite a bit. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Comment below. We'll talk later.